Would you debate for love? And despite everything, say you won't give up. Would you debate for love? And despite everything, say you won't give up, don't give up.
What's up, everybody? I'm Keita, and today we're gonna talk about why lesbian relationships don't last.
So as you may remember, I came out as bisexual last year. And since then, I have been dating women. And what I've found very fascinating is that the more I date women, the more I find myself understanding heterosexual men. Let me explain.
What's up? I'm a stud. I like girls, but I think I'm finna start dating men. And let me tell you why.
So reason number one is that we are conditioned to think that the hardest part about a relationship is getting into one. If you think about all of the Disney movies that you watch, right? From a little kid, you see this obstacle that these characters have to go through in order to actually be together. And so we think once that we're in the relationship, it's all fine and dandy, we're good to go, and it's gonna be smooth sailing from there. But that is not the case. Dating is a skill. Being in a relationship is a skill. And we are often not taught how to be in relationships. We're not taught or given the skills of what, actually makes a good relationship. We are simply viewing the relationships around us and saying, yes, I'll do that. No, I won't do that. That seems really, that didn't work for my parents or didn't work for my sister. So I'm going to do the complete opposite, and we overcorrect. We are simply out here guessing. And so when you do get into a relationship, you don't wipe your hands off and think, all right, cool, I'm done, right? That's probably the biggest mistake you can make. You have to take each day and each opportunity to grow as the relationship grows, as you and your partner grow together, as life changes and as obstacles are thrown your way.
Exhibit A. I was on a first date with a girl who asked me out, by the way. This is relevant because when the check came, she never once made a move to pay. Not even like the fake, let me reach for my purse move. And though I don't mind paying on a date, part of me felt like, the offer would have been nice. I was also a little taken aback that she didn't even say thank you. And I never heard from her again. It really made me feel like she just asked me out so she could have a free dinner. And the moment I thought that, I was like, oh my God, I sound like all of my guy friends right now. And my argument against why guys should pay for dates has always been like, look, girls take hours to get ready. Our investment is looking really nice for you. Makeup, clothes, that costs money too. But we were both girls in this situation. We both took hours to get ready, so I definitely felt slighted.
So I've been out here dating, and I just find that I date a lot of these femmes, and it seems like they looking for a parent instead of a partner, bro.
Reason number two is that we are not mindful in the dating process. This means, especially as lesbians, U-hauling is a thing. When we are on our 24-hour date or the date that lasts weeks and weeks because you haven't spent any time apart, we can get really caught up in the future. Like, what does the future look like with this person, right? Which is why we put so much pressure on the first date, because we go into the first date thinking, am I good enough for this person? Are they good enough for me? Can I build a life with them? All that. Instead of being just mindful and being present to the person that's right in front of you. See, pressure comes and stress comes when we start to think about the future, or when we start to think about what we've done in the past and trying to make sure that we're not doing those things. When we can be mindful in the moment with this person, am I having a good time? What's the attraction like? Can we create chemistry? Then we are more likely to have our relationships last, because we understand what it's like to take it on day by day, moment by moment. And then when something comes up, we can reflect on what has been going on in the present, not what we want in the future. That's where dating someone's potential, because you're thinking about the future, comes in, rather than being present to who they are, what they're doing, and how they're showing up for you, and who you are, what you're doing, and how you are showing up for them.
Exhibit B. On another date, I went back to a girl's house and I ended up making friends with her cat. That's not a pun, I'm talking about her literal, actual animal. And she said, "Wow, my cat never likes anyone. I better go out and buy a wedding dress." And again, I felt like I got some serious perspective. I have been guilty of making these kinds of jokes on dates with men. I never really thought anything of it. I was just being silly. But then when I was on the receiving end of it, I suddenly understood the panic.
Like, and I love spoiling my women. I love paying for stuff. I love taking them on dates and getting them flowers and make sure they're good in every way, make sure they're safe, opening the door for them, all that. I love that stuff. But it seems like I can't get any spoiling in return. Exactly. Nobody wants to play that role. I'm getting girls flowers, taking them on these crazy dates, and, you know, them real good, you know, at the end of the night, make sure they get home safe, getting them all of this and getting nothing in return. Like, I don't know if girls are fake gay, but they don't even want to, like, they don't even want to F back. Like, they don't even want to back. Like, what?
Which brings me to my next point. Oftentimes in the dating process, we are neglecting ourselves, which means that we're not looking at those red flags, looking at the little things and addressing them right away, right? And how does that affect us, right? Because when we let those red flags go or those yellow flags go and we don't address them, right, then we're basically training and teaching that other person how to treat us. Right? What happens so often is we will treat ourselves a certain way at the beginning of the relationship. We'll put what we want on the back burner. We won't ask for what we want, right? And then this other person gets this view of like, oh, okay, they don't really care about what they want. They only care about what I want. And then when you get into the relationship, you get upset that they are treating you the way that you treated yourself at the beginning of the relationship. They brush off those little things that don't seem like a big deal because guess what? You brushed off those little things at the beginning of the relationship, and everybody does it, right? It can be driven by fear. It could be driven because we don't want to be alone because everybody else in our life is in relationships and we want to be in a relationship as well. Or maybe the first couple of dates went really well and you start thinking about the future. And here's the biggest thing. We go to talk to other people and we let other people convince us that those things, those uncomfortable things that we know in the pit of our stomach that we should address, we let other people convince us that they're not a big deal. So be careful, because just because it's not a big deal to someone else doesn't mean it's not a big deal to you. It doesn't mean that it's not important to you. And again, you are training and teaching this person how to treat you. And so if you're letting somebody else talk you into like, oh, it's not a big deal that they didn't call and text you and let you know they were on their way. It's not a big deal that they did this thing, right? If you're letting those things slide, they will seep into the relationship. And then this little thing has become this huge problem that you tend to constantly.
And finally, Exhibit C. One girl invited me back into her house, and her specific words were, "Do you want to come in and make out?" Obviously, I'm like, yeah, you're really pretty. I want to press my face to yours. But then when we got there, we both just sat on the couch and she talked till like 3 a.m. And I was like, yo girl, I gotta wake up at like 6 a.m. I was told there would be kisses here. There are no kisses. And like, look, I don't want to sound like an asshole. Like, I don't mind talking. I love talking. But she could have said, do you want to come in and just talk? And I would have had totally different expectations for the evening. You know, finally I started falling asleep and I was like, hey, I gotta go. And I gave her one kiss and left. And I felt sad that the amount of kisses promised did not equal the amount of kisses delivered. And once again, I felt like a dude who was upset that I did not receive the expected physical kisses I was promised.
I be trying to ask girls, like, are you gay for real? Like, are you gay? Cause you like, you know what I'm saying? It even come down to the conversation. I be carrying the conversation, asking them questions, figuring out what they like and what they don't like. And they don't ask nothing back. Like, and I asked this one girl, like, why don't you ask nothing about me? And she said, I'm just trying to see for myself. What?
Last reason why your lesbian relationship isn't lasting is because you are running away from the pain. Look, we all have trauma that we have to heal. Doesn't matter how you grew up, right? We're all in relationships. We all have issues, right? And so a lot of times people aren't going deep into those issues and healing those things, right? What we're doing is we're numbing the pain. We're shopping, or we're drinking, or we're smoking, or we're doing all of these things that can push all of that trauma down, right? But what happens is when you get in a relationship with the other person, they will reflect back to you what needs to be healed, what's still going on. And it's not because, you know, not solely because you're trauma bonding, right? But there's someone that says we tend to get in relationships or marry our unfinished business. It's just unfinished business. It's an opportunity for you to self-soothe. It's an opportunity for you to heal yourself, or for you to heal your younger child or your teenager, or wherever the pain started and the trauma came from. But if we're numbing and we're running away from that, or we're blaming the other person and not being responsible for what's going on over here with us, your relationship won't last. Because it'll be about what the other person isn't doing. It'll be about, well, they're not doing this to make me happy. No, it is your responsibility to make you happy, not anybody else's. It's yours. The best relationships is when this person is happy and this person is happy, and they can find a way to create happiness together on a day-to-day, hour by hour, sometimes minute by minute moment. And it's creating, right? But if every time your partner does something and you get triggered and you blame them, right, it creates this gap, right? Instead of an opportunity for you to be responsible, for them to be responsible, to really do the work to heal that pain, right? When stuff comes up, we blame and then we run away. We go gossip and talk to a friend, right? So really look at those, and like when I say look, like dig in deep and really look. You have to look at yourself in the mirror, and it's gonna take something. But really look at yourself and look at your past relationships and see over those relationships, there are going to be some common denominators as to why those relationships didn't work out. And you want to look at, right, why didn't those things work out from your perspective, right? Where can you be responsible? Where did you contribute to this? And then underneath, what did you really want that you didn't get, right? And what needs to be healed? What were you really asking for? What were you really trying to get out of them? Because typically when we get mad at our partner, they trigger us and we're arguing, we just want to feel good enough. We just want to feel worthy of love, right? But because our lives have been so chaotic and we continue to run away, right, from the healing, because we think the healing is chaotic, but our lives are really chaotic, right? When we tend to run away from that, we're not giving ourselves the opportunity to heal and grow and progress in our relationship.
And I wanted to talk about this because I felt like this has really been expanding my perspective when it comes to dating. I finally understand a lot of the complaints my male friends have about dating that I admit I would usually dismiss. But now I really get it when they say,
dating is just so expensive, man. Sometimes I feel like a girl doesn't even like me for me. She just wants like a boyfriend.
I wish it were more socially expected to go Dutch on the first few dates, but you're like a jerk if you even suggest it. And any experience that expands your compassion and understanding is one that I think is worthy of sharing. So what about you? Have you had any experiences that have shifted your viewpoint dramatically? Let me know.
If I'm paying for everything, I'm doing all the transportation, I'm initiating everything, the least you could do is a little or something, or bring me some flowers, walk to the gas station, give me a bag of chips. I'm not asking for a lot, but it seems like I am because I can't get anything out these girls, you know. And not everything is about this, but if you're not finna do this and make sure that I'm satisfied, then you have to pay for something. You're gonna have to pull up, You're gonna have to give me something, some blunts, some alcohol or something. And honestly, I ain't gonna lie, you rolling up every once in a while ain't even enough no more. It's not enough. Like, I need the full experience the same way that I'm giving you. And I just feel like with a man, like, he's automatically expected to do things, put stuff in motion, pay for stuff, all of that stuff. And I know if I had a boyfriend, I would reciprocate his energy and treat him really well, because I already have that in me as a masculine presented person. And honestly, I'm not even masculine. Like, I'm kind of STEM. I like to switch it up. Like, I like to be masc most of the time, but I will put on some lashes and a cute outfit and everything like that. So that part of me ain't feeling the not getting nothing in return.
Relationships. So look, I hope those reasons really helped. You know, relationships are hard. They're difficult. It's one of the areas of the life where it's so important, but no one teaches any of these things, right? They don't teach us about what it means to be loved, how to be loved. Well, none of that. We're all just out here guessing, which is why I created my conscious dating program. Right? Because it takes you from being unconscious and randomly doing things to figure it out, to sitting down, to healing, to add intentionality into your dating world, right? And have your next dating experience be your last, because you have those skills to not only find and attract the right person, but those skills can then be translated over into the relationship, and you use them to continue to grow and build the relationship of your dreams.
It just got me like overwhelmed, and as a giver, I need me a giver, and maybe I just haven't found her yet, but it's making me think like maybe I'm on the wrong side, because at least I know with a man I'm supposed to get some type of spoiling, because right now I'm not getting nothing, and it's making me want to switch. So anybody that's out there, let me know if I'm tripping. Studs, am I out there? Y'all feeling like let me know if I'm tripping, bro.
Would you debate for love? And despite everything, say you won't give up. Would you debate for love? And despite everything,